What's up, everybody? Vash still here again. It's been a bit, wow, a couple weeks. Yeah. Last week I didn't upload a bi-weekly update for various reasons. Main reason, I didn't have time. I didn't have time, and I've just been super busy. Feel like I've been dealing with a bunch of crap at work and a bunch of crap at home, and just a whole bunch of things I don't want to get into. So, so today, GG anime again. This time, it's going to be on a series that I thought it was popular when it came out, mainly because it was a retelling of an older movie. So, if you guys know the movie, The Seven Samurai, then you guys will know Samurai 7, which is the anime version of it. And it's kind of like futuristic, mecha-y and whatnot. So, yeah. So, spoiler alert, obviously, for those who haven't watched it. I mean, why haven't you watched it? It's been out for a few years, like a really long time. Like it has a game on the PlayStation 2. That's how old it is. Anyway, so in particular, what I'm talking about is the character Katsushiro. For the specific reason that, for one, he really wanted to be accepted as a samurai, as one of the seven samurai that Lady Kiara had to go out and find to protect her village. The thing is, he was rejected on sight because he did not have the scent of battle on him. And so I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense, right? But then, like, somewhere along the line, I think, like, it was after they got, I think it was either Kikucho or Heihachi. I think it was Heihachi. After they got Heihachi, all of a sudden, Kiara said, "Oh, Katsushiro's available to be he's a contender to be a samurai now." And I'm just like, "Well, okay, that doesn't really make much sense, but okay." So I rolled with it. So specifically, why I'm calling it out on Katsushiro this time is because he was still just in training. I don't know why he wanted to like go out on the field of battle and like try to like put his life on the line or whatnot. He was still in training. He was not a full-fledged samurai. If anything, he was more like a ronin. He was a wanderer. That's what he was. So like, yeah, it didn't make sense much why he would want to be a warrior defending. He was not fully prepared to take on the responsibilities of being a bodyguard for an entire village. And even like it was even Kanbei told him like, hey, you know what, you're still a kid, you're still wet behind the ears, you're still a little green. Just if you're gonna follow us on our journey to try to help us to find the rest of the samurai, try not to get yourself killed. Try at least to protect Kirara so that she doesn't get kidnapped or hurt or anything. Cause like, yeah, obviously, and the whole reason they need seven samurai is because the main government of the story, the main government of their universe, they're very tyrannical. They go and like they pluck the rice fields from a bunch of villages. Like they take all the villages' crops and whatnot, steal their beautiful daughters, all the beautiful girls and whatnot. They take them away from the village and everything, essentially destroying their way of life. And Kirata's village doesn't want to end up like that, so they want to be able to fight against the government, but they're not strong enough on their own. So they sent Kiara out to go find to find seven samurai, and the village elder said, "Seven samurai. That's all we need. Pay them in rice." So that's what they did. They went out. They got their seven samurai. I always forget their names, always, and it pisses me off. But it's one of my favorite series. But yeah, like Kanbei told Katsushiro to keep an eye on Kirara so that nothing happens to Kirara. Kirara is the one we have to protect above all else. So, Katsushiro's like, alright, yeah, cool, whatever, I'll listen to you, Kanbei Dono. Like, he calls all the samurai, I think even Kikucho, Dono, which means like my lord, or they're to signify that they're a higher status than he is. So yeah, but anyway, he said, "Don't worry, Kanbei Dono, I will protect Hirata Dono." and like, it just look, Katsushiro, he could have been a really good character and whatnot if they kept them as like a trainee person, like trainee samurai who was just learning like all the samurai rules and whatnot. If they kept his character like that, I would have been perfectly fine with it. But somewhere along the lines, they kind of shifted his character into being like, oh, I want to be a warrior, like basically battle shonen type, like, oh, I want to be the strongest in the world. Like, somewhere along the line, his personality shifted from being like, I'm still in training and I need to know my place in the world, to I am going to surpass the samurai to be able to defend the village on my own. Basically, is what his personality evolved into. And like, it sucks because Katsushiro was a likable character, but then they basically made him like, oh, so because he's never cut down another person, he's never had their blood on his sword or whatnot. Like, he suddenly freaks out when he did it that one time, and it's like okay, like, he knew what he was getting into. First of all, like, he knows he wasn't ready for battle. He knows he wasn't ready. He knows he wasn't prepared. Kanbei told him he wasn't prepared. Even Kikucho told him he wasn't prepared. And Kikucho's 13 years old. If that family map of his is actually his, he's only 13 years old, which doesn't put him much older than Kirara's younger sister. But Kikucho was only 13 years old, and even he knew what he was getting into. Like, almost all the samurai end up dying except for Katsushiro. Katsushiro was like the only one that lived, and he was all like, well, no, I guess I have to defend the village on my own. Like, there's no need to defend the village anymore. The government's been taken down. What's the point of you even staying here? You're in love with Kirara, and everybody knows it, but Kirara's not in love with you. Kirara was in love with Kanbei. So, like, you can see, like, where Katsushiro went horribly wrong was that he wasn't thinking with his head, right? He wasn't thinking with his head. And that's what kind of irritates me about Katsushiro, is that he was a really likable character. He was a cool guy. And, like, yeah, it's good to get the, like, naive person's point of view on, like, what's happening and whatnot. Like, if you put, like, okay, like, All Noah Zero. Right, I'm gonna compare it to All Noah Zero real quick. Main character Inaho, like, he's what they would call a gifted fighter, but he was inexperienced, he was young, he was naive, and he kind of just, like, kept going headlong into battle, and then he finally realized, oh, this has consequences. Doing this kind of stuff that I've been doing has consequences. I can't be doing that anymore. And, like, he learned his lesson. But it's like they kept making Katsushiro do it and do it and do it, and he didn't learn his lesson until he picked up a freaking gun. Okay? And it's like, at that moment, Katsushiro, you are no longer a samurai. Don't even consider yourself a samurai at this point. You picked up a gun, attempted to shoot an enemy, ended up shooting an ally instead, making your number down 1 and their numbers not even diminished a bit. You helped literally 1% of the battle. That's all you helped out. And it wasn't even the proper 1%. You helped the opposing team. Well, not the opposing team, but the opposition. You helped the opposition. You didn't even help who you were originally supposed to be helping, Katsushiro. Like, Katsushiro, you were a really good guy at the beginning of the series, but somewhere along the way, you kind of broke yourself. You became something you weren't supposed to be. You became someone you weren't meant to be. You made the decisions on your own. You were warned against that, and you still did it. So, GG, Katsushiro. You're never gonna get Kirara. You're never gonna get much, like, respect or anything. Like, yeah, after the battle was over, you were the last remaining samurai, which says more about you than it does about the other samurai. Kanbei, Heihachi, Kikucho, Rikichi, they were all, like, in the middle of battle. They all died fighting to protect the actual, like, the village and whatnot. Katsushiro, you tried. You ended up killing one of your samurai. It just... GG, Katsushiro. GG. That's it. That's all I gotta say. GG, Katsushiro. You helped... You didn't help much, is what I'm trying to say. So, like, even if Katsushiro's character wasn't in and they were only meant to grab 6 samurai, and if they only managed to get 6 samurai plus Katsushiro, and at the end, if at the end Katsushiro just went off a separate path, nothing would have changed. Stuff would have still went down. Kidada would have still gotten kidnapped. Akambe would have seen it. Akambe would have stopped it, prevented it, got Kidada back. That's what would have happened. Katsushiro's involvement in the plot was literally zero. The only involvement he had was that he helped them get the rice back. And if that was the last time we saw Katsushiro, it would have been okay. Katsushiro wasn't that important to the plot. Like, when you think about it, if Katsushiro was removed entirely, he wouldn't have shot that guy. Like, he wouldn't have shot his ally. I say his ally because I forgot his name. But, like, he wouldn't have shot him. That guy wouldn't have died. Like, Katsushiro was literally a negative to the entire involvement of the entire thing that they were trying to do. It was complete negative. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here before I get more angry. But yeah, anyway, GG anime, Samurai 7, remove Katsushiro. Anyway, that's all for this video. You guys know the dealio. But yeah, yeah, that real talk video will be coming out soon. I do want to still try to get that video out, and I am going to attempt to get it one way or another, and I'm going to talk to that friend again to see if they still want to do it. So, alright, this is Vash Steel signing out, and don't forget, this too will pass.